Good back there? All right, thank you very much. We will call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Capaldi.
Here.
Councilmember Hul.
Here.
Councilmember Ionati.
Here.
Councilmember Mars.
Here.
Vice President Brown.
Here.
President Verducci.
Here, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the event of an emergency, you can go out the doors you came in, or you can head out these side doors to the back and look for the door marked exit. All right, first up on the agenda tonight, we have public comment on docketed items. Anyone in chambers like to come up and say anything on docketed items? Come on up, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, all. Tom Pendergast. I live at 6 White Rock Road, Vice President of the Upper Dam Pond Conservation Association. So I'd like to talk about number 5F, page 14, resolution 2026-25, to include Upper Dam Pond in the RIDEM PPL. So just a few words, from 2007 to 2026, 20 years. That's a lot of time. Who would have thought that a dumped aquarium in 2010 would have led to such trouble? But every lake is different, every problem complex. The Upper Dam Pond Conservation Association has been working on the short-term solution, weed abatement, since 2021, and we will continue that effort. But as I said, speaking to you 1 year ago, we needed to address the long-term solution, the cause of the problem of weeds in lakes. That's stormwater. Today is the day that we can address that. Your resolution brought tears to my eyes. Joy to the Upper Dam Conservation Association members, and hope to future generations that boat, swim, and fish. Together, we can save Breezy Lake. And I hope that you vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. All right, anyone else in chambers like to speak on docketed matters? All right, if not, we will check over on Zoom. I don't see any hands raised. Do you, Marcus? Your eyes are a little better than mine. All right. All right, if that's it, then we will move on to item 2 on the agenda, licenses. We have a new Class F liquor license for the Knights of Columbus. Is anyone here who would like to speak on that or anything from the council? All right, I will entertain a motion. Oh, he is here. I'm sorry. Oh, please come on up. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is William Jacobek. I live at 159 Princeton Avenue, Coventry, Rhode Island. I am the Grand Knight of the local Knights of Columbus Council, the Monsignor Peter E. Blessing Council, number 5273. And I just wanted to mention that I'm here tonight for a Class F license, and the event that we're having is on April 10th, being held at St. John and Paul Church Parish Hall. And it's a Funny for Funds comedy night, and it's to support one of the night's programs called Coats for Kids. And what we do is, as a council, we purchase about $2,000 worth of coats from young adults down to toddlers. And we work hand in hand with the St. Vincent de Paul Society of Coventry, also out of Our Lady of Chenstohova Church, which is our council headquarters also. They know who the people are in need, the families in need, the kids in need. So it's a nice joint effort. We buy the coats, we give them the coats, and they distribute it to the families in need. So if you're online on Facebook or any of the others, we have flyers that's out there. If anyone's interested, they can contact St. Vincent de Paul Society of Coventry or the Monsignor Peter E. Blessing Council. I do have a flyer here if anybody would like to see it. I can leave it with you. But it's a fun night, comedy night. It's rated PG. It's a church friendly presentation. They try to go off every once in a while, but we stop them. But anyway, it's a great effort, and I want to thank you. We've done it for numerous years in the past, and we appreciate the opportunity to do it. That was it. If anyone has any questions, feel free. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Do you have enough comedians? We have a lot of them. A lot of jokesters around here. If you, yeah, okay.
We can do stand-up.
I'd like
Thank
to make
you.
a motion if you'll take it.
Please go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the new Class F liquor license for Knights of Columbus Funny for Funds charity fundraiser, comedy night fundraiser, St. John's and Paul Church. I'd also like to include in my motion a waiver of the $15 fee.
I'll second that motion.
Motion in a second. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming in tonight. Appreciate it. Good luck with the event. That does sound funny. All right. Cruising right along. We are on item number 3. We have town council appointments tonight. First up, Coventry Planning Commission. There is one name on here. Is it Gaviscar Lewis? You in the building tonight? Oh, hello. Come on up. Yeah, take your jacket off, stay a while. The name and address for the record, and then tell us about yourself.
Yes, my name is Gavashka Lewis. You may call me Gavi, Gavy. I live at 49 Watercress Court. I have a background in early childhood education. I spent nearly a decade in banking. Then I transitioned to environmental management. I've done work in terms of consulting pertaining to environmental management / planning. I was a GIS technician for 10 months with BSc in Worcester. I call it Worcester. And I have some experience in supply chain operations while working for the USPS. I work well with individuals or groups. I am very team oriented and flexible and willing to assist as best as possible. That's in a nutshell me. I'm an only child, unfortunately. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for that. It does feel like I know you now. Could you tell us a little bit about your experience? Just it looks like you've got a lot of it here as far as being able to read plans and things like that. Obviously, have you spent some time doing things like that as far as reviewing or applying permits, things like that? Any kind of experience you think might help?
I've done projects where I've had to map a particular community or sector where plans are needed utilizing GIS, satellite imagery, or raw plans. I've had to look at the plans to see how close they are in proximity to wetlands or endangered areas, ownership of land, or town ownership of land, private ownership, doing the necessary due diligence pertaining to respective agencies that might overlap where responsibilities are pertinent in those planning areas. I have assisted or consulted with residents in the area where flood mitigation is concerned, instead of building an actual fence, I assisted in consulting that instead of putting up a fence, plant trees. That way you still have the barrier. You can retain water and the place is environmentally protected and beautified and benefits. Yeah.
Thank you for that very much. Appreciate it. It's a big job on the planning commission. So, I promised all my friends over there that we would make sure we get somebody who can hit the ground running, and you've got a great resume here, and it's great that you came forward. Anybody have anything over here? Councilwoman Capaldi.
Very impressive resume. Thank you for applying. I'm just really curious about your accent.
I was born in Jamaica.
Nice. Thank you.
Yes, I've lived here. Next month will be 10 years. Yes. But I'm Jamaican by birth.
Gotcha. Southern Coventry. Did I hear anything over here? Anybody else? All right.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Lewis to the Planning Commission.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Yes, thank you very much. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. See you. We'll see you at when's the meeting? Tomorrow? All right. This is what we like to do. Get in there. Thank you very much. Excellent. All righty. Next up, tax assessors, board of review. We have one renewal and one opening. Is Keith White here? Did you want to come up? All right. Yes, please.
Good evening.
Thank you, sir, for joining us again.
Keith White, 136 Reservoir Road. I've been on the board a month and a half. I don't think I've screwed things up, but I could work on it if you need me to. Our work really is not going to get too busy until next fall when the new reval numbers hit the street. The process before with the reval company, tax bills, and then 90 days thereafter. So, I was told I didn't have to come, but I came anyways.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
I've noticed. So
Yeah,
I
a little
made
bit of
sure
humor.
I came. I didn't want to get
No.
left out.
No, appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions or more jokes? No? Okay.
I'll make a motion.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion on Mr. White? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. White. Moving right along. What?
There's two for that.
Oh, do you want to go back? We good? Okay. It's all right.
We're good. Keep it going.
All right. Next up is Janine here. Oh, hey. Thanks for coming. Name and address for the record.
Janine Prevey, 1 Sunset Ave.
And you are going for, this is the open seat?
Yes, for District 4.
Gotcha. All right. Did you want to tell us anything about yourself?
I think I put it a lot in the
Okay.
application that I just have a financial background. I work as a controller. I do payroll. I'm used to working with sensitive information, applying the rules consistently, being, not sure the right word, but when there's sensitive information and kind of just speaking between the bosses and their rules and how the employees are going to take it and being that mediator. So I think kind of what I do as a day job kind of fits a lot of buckets that you might be looking for.
Oh, absolutely. And we really, really sincerely appreciate you jumping in. Anyone up here have any questions for Janine? All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, with data and looking at data and housing,
Yes.
how do you feel you'll do with that? Because your day role isn't including housing and data.
They have housing, but I am looking at other statistics.
So you could,
I work for a retail company, so we're looking to make sure that our margin is always right.
Right.
make sure the profit's there, and stuff like that. So housing, no, but other data sets, yes. All day.
And you stated you're good at making fair decisions.
Yes, I have to apply decisions. I have to understand what the laws are, what they are, understand them so that I can apply them consistently and fairly all the time.
Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Capaldi wants to know what your favorite Excel function is.
Pivot charts?
Yes, that's the correct answer. Yes, pivot table is the answer. Thank you for that.
All day long.
Councilman Hool.
I do have one question. Because you don't deal with housing statistics or housing prices or any sort of appraisals or assessments on a daily basis, I am still all for, your appointment here. I would just, you see the gentleman in the back, White's appraisal has been around forever. Lean on some of your people on the board, learn as much as you can, embrace yourself. It's real information, real people's decisions. So without the background, I'd ask you to put a little bit more effort and just catch yourself up as quickly as you can.
Definitely. I'm all for lifetime learning.
Thank you so much.
We
I'd make a
start-
motion to approve Janine
Preview.
Prevey, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Thank
I
you.
second.
Thank you.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All
Thank
right.
you again.
Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Good luck. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. White, for allowing me to volunteer your mentorship to this young lady.
He's glad he came. All right. Cruising along again. Item 4, Mr. Town Manager. Oh, there it comes. We knew it was coming. Thought it was a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just another train. Okay.
Good evening, council. The 5-year CIP is in your budget, as well as the PowerPoint. So I got a few comments to make, and then Marcus can jump into the slides. First of all, I want to thank the town council and all of my directors for their support and leadership over the last 3 years. It is a pleasure to work with such a dedicated, talented, and passionate group of professionals. Your commitment and devotion to do what is best for all of Coventry's residents is much appreciated. To all of our employees, thank you for what you do every day to make a difference in our community. I have witnessed firsthand the incredibly talented employees we have that serve our residents in various capacities at Town Hall, on the roadways, in our classrooms, and at our community events throughout the year. Our town continues to grow and evolve, and we are making the best informed decisions to make the future bright. At this time, I want to highlight some of the great work we are doing that not everyone may know about, and why there's a reason to be excited about the future of Coventry. This is a great community, and we are striving to make it better every day. Everything starts with finances, and we have one of the best finance teams in any municipality who are rebuilding our financial foundation with accountability, long-term decision-making, and smart investing. They are bringing financial stability to the town with the completion of all of our audits, setting up revolving capital funds, a capital lease fund for our sanitation trucks, and a compensated absence fund for those who retire. We had a surplus of $1.6 million in FY24 and a surplus of $2.5 million in FY25, and currently have a rainy day fund balance of approximately $19 million. Over the last 3 years, our pension liability has gone from $105 million to $75 million as we continue to make our actuarial required contributions a priority. We are funding the school deficit plan this year at $475,000 and increasing our local appropriation to the schools by 2%. We are working productively and proactively with the superintendent and his finance team to address opportunities to save, make long-term strategic decisions, and move ahead with the $25 million of school bond projects. We are engaged with our service function departments, including DPW, engineering, building inspections, and planning, to invest in our infrastructure when it comes to paving roads, rebuilding sidewalks, re-engineering dams, assessing our sewer capacity, and rebuilding our DPW fleet. We are also investing in our police department with additional vehicles and equipment utilizing grant funding and impact fees for building improvements. We will continue to provide the latest training and equipment for our officers to make them successful and safe. We have made great strides in recruitment and look to be at full complement by this time next year. The cornerstone of the future here in Coventry is the Community Learning Center. It is over 90% complete and will provide education, workforce development, and health monitoring for years to come for all of our residents, thanks to the state of Rhode Island and their $4.7 million grant. In this budget, we are also adding additional personnel in key departments of town government, including an assistant for Cody in IT, a part-time minimum housing inspector in the building department, and continuing to fund a vital senior planning position in the planning department. We have acquired Flat River Reservoir and will be adding additional public access in the future with the near completion of the redevelopment plan. We are finishing up our comprehensive plan with the great work of our planning staff and planning commission and hope to have it in front of this council by the end of May. We are approximately 40% complete on the construction of the new sewer line for the high school, funded through EPA and a school bond, which is approximately $4 million. Completion of that line is scheduled for late summer, so we will no longer have to pump waste as we have been for the past 3 years at a cost of nearly $1 million. We are building new playgrounds at Quidnick, Harris, and Hunter's Crossing, and we are reinvesting in Briar Point and Tiogue Lake with the addition of lifeguards this year and a new gatehouse and underground infrastructure. We are expanding programming at the Senior Center and Parks and Recreation, including an extra week of summer camp. And here are the financial highlights that were in the PowerPoint presentation, if Marcus can get that up, if possible. So overall, we are proposing a 4.5% increase to the municipal budget. We're going from $127 million to approximately $133 million. We are proposing a 3.16 or $2.6 million increase to the total property tax. That is not the tax increase. The tax rate itself has not been set yet. It won't be ready for a few months as we wait for the additions of new construction, property improvements, along with the completion of our full revaluation. Our non-tax revenue is proposed to increase by 7.3% or $3 million. Our state aid was increased this year by over $1 million, with the largest increase coming from distressed communities, which we've talked about in the past. This year, we're getting an additional $670,000, along with our state housing aid, which was also increased by $228,000. Our state aid for education was increased by 4.9%, giving the schools an additional $1.4 million. Our general government expenditure increase is 10.74%, or almost $700,000. In the budget, public safety is proposed to increase 5.6%, or $934,000. Public Works, their proposed increase is 7.45%, or $672,000. Along with the full 5-year plan, I've identified areas that I want to move forward on this year in the capital improvement budget. Those mostly are within DPW, Parks and Recreation, and a small project in engineering. That's an increase of $145,000 from last year's budget. On the school side, the total funding is $87,761,129, or a 3.5% increase. We continue to fund maintenance of effort and increasing, like I said, the schools by 2%, or approximately $1 million. We're also contributing $475,000 towards a deficit reduction plan, which will be in front of you later on tonight for approval and in front of the school committee on Thursday, so we can pass that along to the Auditor General, who has already approved the draft of that document. With the additional $900,000 in savings, the school is realizing with the approval of their recent RFP for healthcare, along with the reserve funds that will be available soon, the school department is in a much better place when it comes to planning to address their deficit than they were a year ago, and they look to have their deficit fully funded in the next 3 years. As I mentioned earlier regarding the decision to fully fund our pensions, this is an example of the turnaround that the investment results. The police pension went from 15.2% funded in 2016. It is now at 38.3% funded. The municipal pension was funded at 36% and is now funded at almost 51%. The SRP pension was funded at 43.75% and is now funded at 56.35%. Regarding opera funds, the remaining opera funds, we are proposing to appropriate the balance that was committed to the department directors and RDA through the MOUs in December of 2024. And an example of what is left is the Tiogue Lake Gatehouse, about 750,000. RDA has the balance of their 455. It's about 300,000, I want to say they have left. We have 200,000 to pump at the high school and $123,000 to pave the Payne parking lot at Parks and Recreation. The continued investment in capital improvements will help the town move forward, with the two main investments being road paving and school buildings. This year, we are committing $1.2 million to paving our roads. In partnership with the state, we're getting $400,000 reimbursed for the third year in a row as we continue to move our Pave It Forward program going. Our investment in the schools is a result of the $25 million bond the taxpayers voted for the upgrades, and every school will be touched in some capacity. The town will continue to support all of its departments as we head into very difficult times with the end of ARPA, along with not knowing what Washington brings us. But we must continue to budget needs versus wants and continue to make our taxpayers a priority. So with that said, the full budget's been given to you. It'll be released to the public after this meeting, and then we'll go forward with our public budget hearings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Pasqua.
So I bring this up every budget year because it's pretty important for people to understand what we talk about when we talk about a tax increase. So the budget proposed by the manager has a budget increase. That number that you see for a budget increase is not what you get taxed at. That's a tax levy increase. It's different because if the overall budget is 4%, the state also gives us money for the schools, which is an income source. We also get money through grants. We get money through taxes. We get money through permits and stuff. So the tax levy is one part of the income for the town of Coventry. So when you see a 4% increase on the budget, doesn't necessarily mean a 4% tax increase to your bill. And then additionally, one of the things that I've been pushing for years is to recognize all the building that we have going on. And in order to receive money from new buildings that are being built, new houses and all of that stuff, we need to essentially open up the tax levy to receive it. So if the town expanded 2% in population and building, you would technically really open up the tax levy by 2%, and you really probably wouldn't see that much, if any, increase at all. If you didn't do that, the rate would go down, the services would go up, and the town would be level in the tax revenue. So it's very important to understand that just because you have a increase in the tax levy doesn't necessarily mean, it can mean, I'm not saying it doesn't, it can mean that you will have a tax increase, and it likely will be a tax increase, but it's not to the number that you see because you've had building and you've had expansion within the town of Coventry, so you have more people paying that bill.
I appreciate it. As you always do with these, providing the context. It's very important. Anyone else up here? Councilman Hull.
Be quick here. I think one of the struggles that I have with this is the long-term sustainability of where we're going to end up and how is this going to be affordable. And a lot of the things that I want to push back on the budget are outside of our control. And that's like, at what point is the town and the school going to really start approaching our state legislators to like change some of the forced funding fees? Like, we're never going to get anywhere. Every year is going to be a tax increase unless you guys don't want us to pave roads, and if you don't want us to invest, that's how we can eliminate a tax increase. But then we'll have no roads paving. People, 3 years ago, according to the town manager, there was no road paving. So it's like we're starting those things. We're investing in these things, and they're going to cost money. And unfortunately, 10 years, 15 years ago, when they sold you guys no tax increases, well, they also weren't paying the pensions. That's how they didn't increase your taxes. So you can't have both. You can't have a funded pension system and no tax increase. It's just not realistic. The issue is, where are we going long term? I think we can save a lot of money if we start pushing or trying to change some of the forced fundings, especially when you're looking at the schools. Man, we're at 67 cents on a dollar. Is that math accurate? Like 67 cents on every dollar is outside of any department that anyone up here can control how that money's spent. Besides that, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Mr. Cervetti, the department heads. We have made a lot of progress from 100 million to 75 million. We're going to celebrate the wins. We are investing in infrastructure. We're buying trash trucks. Council president is working on trying to fund additional for dump trucks, that type of stuff. We have to invest. So thank you. No one wants a tax increase, especially me.
Absolutely. I think I got him for, okay. Councilwoman Ionati?
So the only concern that bothers me a little bit is that we're on a tightrope with the school. And if we're planning on 8 top step teachers, it's really geared to 8 top step teachers retiring. And what happens if they don't? So that's my main, because we're really walking a tightrope on that school. So we have to stay really close to that for it to work, because if that doesn't work, then it could go south.
Yeah, I think that's what they include in their plan as an average. I mean, if they've had years where they've had over 15 people retire. So I think that's an average over the last 4 or 5 years, they said. Is that how they base that on? Obviously, it's all assumptions, but that's kind of how they base it, where the 8 higher salaried ones retire and they replace them with lower salaried ones.
But that's really our win all, is that if they do retire. So if they don't, then it kind of, we're really in tight water, just for the record. I mean, that's really where we're at.
True.
So we have to watch that, because that's the tilt, the make it or the tilt. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, when we had him in, I don't even, was that last week? Feels like a month ago. That's one of maybe 8 or 9 different things that are up in the air for them, because you got the state funding, which could go up. We saw the swing on the medical, but Medicaid, the reimbursements, so tons of different things in there. But back to Councilman Hoole's point, the mandates definitely where we struggle. I think League of Cities and Towns and other folks are taking up that fight to kind of, toughen an election year. We all realize the political implications up at the State House. So, but I think that is something we need to strongly look at together. That funding formula was 2012. So the things that went into that formula have significantly changed. What they value. And
yeah, and I think that the Blue Ribbon Commission that the Rhode Foundation looked into and is proposing would help everyone. I mean, the back end of that, though, is the state needs to take on $300 million more. And then in our case, we would save 15 million. It would come from the state. I know it's being introduced this year. I'm not sure how much it's going to gain in the House or the Senate, but I think that's the idea, it needs to be reworked. And that's one example is what the Rhode Island Foundation did with the Blue Ribbon Commission.
You talk about one big bucket. I mean, they may help us out on the municipal side, but where are they going to get it? But good points. And also to Councilwoman Ionati's points, we're going to be keeping a close eye on that budget, as we do with all of them. We had a nice resolution last year that flags these ahead of time, so they're brought to us, and we got to jump right on. And the schools are aware, and they know. That budget reduction plan is only as good as as it looks each month. So we have to keep a tight eye on that. That's our biggest department, is one way to look at it. Anyone else? Did you want? Councilman Pasqua?
Just real quick, great point by Councilman Hoole about really just not investing in ourselves for years. Just to give you guys some insight on, we didn't drop a pebble of asphalt from 2014 to 2022. That's crazy. We just couldn't afford to do it. We didn't invest in our trash trucks, and it resulted in people's trash not getting picked up for 2 weeks and garbage getting dropped on the road because the bottoms are rotting out. And we've had the same police department size since 2003. So we have failed miserably at just having nice increases, small increases through the year, and growing at a responsible rate to try and be minimum. And, we're playing catch up, and we're finally catching up. We had years behind on audits and everything. I mean, this is the best shape this town's been in decades. And I'm very happy and pleased with where we are. And I think this is a very responsible budget.
Councilman Hoole?
I'll just finish with this school budget really quick. We, Council President, just stated we're the ones watching it. I want to make sure that we don't leave it up to them without firing shots. Person who manages that budget was on that same body when that deficit was created. So I want to make sure that our side is paying attention to that. So we're staying ahead of it because they'll be coming over here threatening A, B, and C, but we did our part. We need them to do their part now.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily for us, we're in the same system. Our finance director has access to all that same stuff. So if we're feeling any types of way, we'll look at it every month and we'll act accordingly.
Yeah,
We have to.
we still meet monthly with the school department, finance, and the superintendent, so we're on top of it.
Thank you for pulling out your nice jacket.
With that, anyone else on this one? So just as far as where we are in the process, the next few meetings or, as ideas come up, if you guys dig into them, you want to submit amendments, whatever you're seeing out there you want to do. Our finance director has made himself available, town manager as well. So if we want to get anything, if you want to add something, try to cut something as well, try to look into certain ideas where we last kind of left off, major areas to cut. You're talking non-union administrative folks and not making payments to pensions and other kind of sillier ideas. We can always trim around a little spots. We also wanted to address weed abatement was one thing I just wanted to remind everybody of. I think there's a placeholder in there now, but as the next few weeks kind of develop, if you got something, we can also do a finance committee on the side to dig in. So just wanted to remind everybody where we are in the process. And then
The
Mr.
sooner the
General
better with the
Manager.
questions. So then the
Sooner
next
the
meeting,
better.
the next meeting is April 7th. That's when the council passes a provisional budget. So if we need to start making those changes, the sooner that Dr. Savetti can put eyes on what you guys are thinking and kind of vet it out and have those conversations, the better. Thanks.
Great. Yep. No, thank you. That's exactly what I was going to ask you. So that's where we are. That's it for now. We can move on. All right. Let's see. Next up, item 5. We have a bunch of resolutions. Maria is going to come up here and tell us all about our priorities.
I'm going to try. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. I'm Maria Broadbent, Assistant Town Manager. This is my 4th annual spring visit to talk about the project priority list. The project priority list is a list that's put together by the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management. This is the list from last year. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of projects on here. So they put out the request for priority projects from the communities so that they can compile a bottom line of what all of the municipalities together think the need is for environmental projects. And these could be anything from stormwater management projects to sewer projects, anything of that nature. And that list is used to determine what amount of money might be requested from the General Assembly for funding. It's used for by the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank to determine what amount of funding they need to let out loans and for bonds. And it also makes you eligible to apply for those loans and bonds and for a number of grants. The high school sewer project is one that we had on this list. I'm glad to say that we're able to take that one off this list. I've left a small piece on there to do any connections that we need to do, work in the field there at the high school. And I wanted to mention the high school because I wanted to make sure I took the opportunity to let everyone know that we are going to be going back and starting up the construction on April 6th, or somewhere around there. And the week of April 6th and April 13th, there will be a detour. So all of that information will be hand delivered to everybody on Reservoir Road from Tiogue to Clubhouse Road, but also the signs will be out on the road and information will be out on our social media. But since I had the ability to stand up here in front of you. I wanted to make sure that I took the opportunity to let you know, because we just found that out today. I would almost recommend that you approve these as a block, because there's a whole bunch. It's actually not required for us to bring these in front of the council, but I think it's a good idea so that you know what we think our priorities are environmentally. Many of these you've seen before. Some, like planning areas 8 and 9 to put in sanitary sewer along Lake Tiogue. Some of these are on here again, but we've actually done some work. We were able to do work at Sandy Bottom Pump Station. We are able to get some work going on Woodland Manor Pump Station, but that doesn't mean that's everything that needs to be done. These things on this list are not a request for funding. There are or a guarantee of any funding. They're just a way to let the state know we have these projects that we could do if we had funding. There's 2 on here that look the same because they are. There are 2 on here for Lake Tiogue, and it's my error because I didn't see until after it went out. But one of the projects is on Resolution 2026 is for general stormwater improvements for Lake Tiogue, and the one for 2026-27 is to do some improvements if funding becomes available along the section of Tiogue near the boat ramp. It really is a really wide road there, and we could, if we use stormwater funding, we could actually make it look nicer. The boat ramp area is ugly, and if we were able to do some stormwater improvements, that would be a place that I would love to see some funds directed. But for that reason, I just bring those up because the 2 resolutions in there look the same, but they're same amount of funding. But it doesn't affect the applications I send to the state because there's a 2-page form I have to send to them anyway that'll have all the details in it.
So should we strike one or keep it as is?
I would keep it as is because the state doesn't require this to be come in front of you or have the resolutions
So
anyway. I'm sending them a form that they fill out for each individual project. So.
All right. Councilman Hull.
I have a procedural question. So although the state doesn't require that these come before us, they are before us.
So you can amend that one if you wanted to.
I'm just, Mr. Igliozzi, can we amend a resolution that doesn't spell out why it was on the agenda? I feel like we're approaching a topic or approving something that wasn't properly notified. I don't want to get us into trouble here. So
we need to know what the significance.
So resolution 2026-26, I'm assuming appears as it should be, Madam Assistant Manager, or is it 2026-27 is correct? Which one's correct? Let's start there.
2020. I don't have the actual packet, so I'm not sure which one is which. 2026 should be for green infrastructure on Lake Tiogue, stormwater infrastructure. And 2027, they're both in there as duplicates, so I don't know which one is which. I think it is 2027 should be 300,000, but stormwater improvements.
Well, I guess it doesn't
along
necessarily
Tiogue
matter.
Avenue.
We can
Yeah.
name this under either 2026-26 or -27. It doesn't matter.
Right, because they're both
Other one-
technically correct. They're both technically stormwater improvements on Lake Tiogue.
So
You don't really need to change it. Up to you. Yeah, they're still going to go in on the forms one way or the other.
So it's a duplicate here in the resolution, but not on the application
Correct.
when you actually submit them. Gotcha.
Because I have to submit an individual application for each one of
Right.
these. Yeah.
And you definitely would have figured out it was a duplicate after you wrote it the second time in the application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the legal question, can we approve this without it typed out on an agenda? I want to take this as a block. If we can't, then I need to remove one of them.
Yeah, I would remove one because I'm not sure what the amendment's going to be.
And we don't know what
One-
it's supposed to say.
Yeah, I'm
it doesn't
submitting them on
your
Friday,
process,
so it
correct?
doesn't change my process. If
Okay.
you take it off, it
So if
doesn't
it doesn't
matter.
change our process,
Not
I
at
don't want to
all.
approve something that, me personally, that wasn't drafted or I received it the way in which we were intended to receive it.
Right. It
If it
got
doesn't
printed.
change your process, then I'm fine. I would make a motion to remove H, Resolution 2026-27, from the agenda. And then I would like to take
But take that motion
A,
first. Take
A
that
through
motion.
L, actually.
Did you make a motion?
There was
I
a
did.
motion to remove.
Motion to
item
remove
7.
first.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion to remove H, and we have a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries to remove. We are now back on.
Now I'd like to
The
make
discussion?
a motion, if I could, to take these as a block. Resolutions 2026-20, -21, -22, 23, 24, 25, 26. We're going to skip 27, 2026-28, 29, 30, and 31, which they are agenda items A through L minus H as in Henry. Take those.
All right, we have a motion to take these in a block, skipping H and going A through L. And we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And this is just on the vote to take them as a block.
Correct.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Back on the item
I would like to
itself.
make a motion to approve those blocked items.
I have a motion to approve. I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolutions have passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
That means we are now on item M. We have Coventry Public Schools Deficit Reduction Plan.
So this resolution is something that the council already approved via a voice vote last time. However, the solicitor wanted to put it in a resolution. Same thing that we did, we're going to be doing on the school side. So the school committee's voting on this as well on Thursday. And we hope to have both of these resolutions approved and then send them off to the Auditor General. So it's the document that we discussed. It's just being formally introduced in the form of resolution.
So one quick question, is there, what kind of tolerance are we at, once this plan is approved, as far as if there's a change in numbers, like we saw and we discussed earlier tonight?
So the Auditor General keeps track of this definitely yearly, if not quarterly. We have to submit our report. So I think if there's anything going sideways on a quarterly report, it will be brought to our attention, or we'll bring it to his attention. Obviously, if any of the assumptions that are being made, if we don't hit those, and that changes the whole plan, whether it's the school's fund balance at the end of this year, or something goes sideways with some of their budgeting. So it can be addressed and corrected as we go.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. If there's anything significant, I would like for them to come up with the solve.
Yes.
In the report as well, not just alerting people there's a problem, but, offering that,
Yeah, we're still going to have quarterly
reduction plan.
check-ins with the Auditor General.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Councilwoman Capaldi.
There's a couple places in this plan that mention that there should be annual monitoring. I think that this should not be done annually. It should be done quarterly, more times than annual. They mentioned it, I believe twice. That's just something, we know what happens if they're not looking at it.
Yeah, if we want to amend it to quarterly, Mr. Solicitor, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Motion for that?
You do.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to change the language in the deficit reduction plan from annual monitoring to quarterly.
I would second that.
Wherever the language appears, because you said it's multiple places, Councilwoman.
Yeah, there's two places. You said
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to change the language wherever it appears for monitoring purposes from annually to quarterly. Any discussion on that amendment? All right, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Back on the resolution. Any other questions?
To
Okay.
approve Resolution 2026-32.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Thank you, Councilman Mars. Any discussion? Oh, sorry. Councilwoman
I
Capone.
just want to call out that it's line 27 for annual monitoring. Why can't I say that word tonight? It's line 27. Right,
Your language that, in the plan or the resolution?
both.
Both, okay. So I would make the same motion.
I make a motion to change the language on line 27 from annual to quarterly.
We have to finish that first motion first, and then the motion. Oh, we have to amend it, yeah. We get in trouble.
So who's,
Who made the motion to approve this?
I did. That needs to be amended. Well, well, let's just get this straight. There was a motion to approve, it was seconded.
Yep.
That motion is pending. There's now a motion to amend. If that gets seconded, that has precedent.
Second.
All right.
And now you take the motion to amend. If it passes, then you go back to the main motion.
Thank you for the list.
Right, that's a good one. All right. We are on now the precedented a motion to change the language similar to the previous one from annual to quarterly. And that's a motion. Do we have a second on that? Second by Councilman Hool. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay. And back again on the resolution as amended. Want to try again? Oh, sorry. Any more discussion? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. There we go. Simple. Never in doubt. Very simple. On to item N. This is a resolution to adopt the increase in application fees within the Department of Planning and Development.
So
We have
Doug is here. During the budget meetings with directors, Doug had mentioned that he wanted to put some changes through. So these are the changes that we had talked about to increase the revenue side of his department. So I'll let him explain it from there.
Thank you, Director.
Good evening, Doug McLean, Director of Planning. It's fairly straightforward. We did a review of other municipalities in the area. We determined that we could raise the fees and basically still be within a general average, a general expected fee structure. We thought it had been a long time since the fees had been looked at. This was the time to do it. And a good number of the fees, over 50% of the fees across the department are being adjusted. Happy to answer any specific questions.
Do we happen to have an estimate on the change? What it will result in? Do we need like a fiscal note
You
on
mean
this?
you mean like an estimate on the revenue difference?
Yeah.
I am projecting that the department will increase revenue next year. It can be hard.
Yeah, right,
These types
right.
of things are
Yeah.
sometimes so peaks and valleys in terms of the numbers of applications.
Tough to even use an average. but
Yeah,
it's-
I mean, one thing I will say is that on a few occasions, we're taking an approach where it was previously a flat fee, and we're going to an approach where it's a per unit fee. So there might be times where in the past, a year might have looked very flat, but if there were a lot of units with a given project, the year would start to look very busy. Or I guess I shouldn't say busy. The year will start to generate more revenue for the larger scale projects as opposed to a flat fee. So But in general, the game plan is we wanted to be within our contemporary communities. We wanted to make sure we weren't on the low end. We also are not on the high end. We're right in the middle. We feel it's appropriate. We don't think that this is going to change the scale and scope of developments we receive. We just think it's giving us good compensation for the time and effort that town staff take. And this was high time to readjust it.
Yeah, it looks like it's been a good, 8 years or so. So
Yeah.
just for some context.
Yep.
That's, we would all like to go 8 years. Let's see. Councilman Hool.
Under the major land development, I noticed that you took the fees from $500 and then it was $25 per unit. You dropped it down to $400 per unit. One of the things that's sticking out to me is major land development is going to be done by someone who has more money than someone who's doing minor land development, I'm going to assume. So I don't want to pin the minor guy larger than I pin the major guy. Major guy has a little bit more cash in his pocket. He can pay up a little bit. So taking it from $500 to $400 to me isn't acceptable. And then taking it from, we're going up on almost everything except for that major land development, which I don't like that. If they're going to build here and they're going to build a major land development, I would have doubled the fees, not just dropped them. I'm just one person, just my thought.
Let me make sure I'm following you. Out of all the categories of the major land development, I'm assuming you're looking at the one that's parentheses final.
I am.
Gotcha. No, and I think if we wanted to keep that as is, I'm comfortable with that as well.
Also, if you look at major land development master, but what I see what you did there is you added the $25 per unit where it wasn't on the original calculation. The original calculation was $500. The proposed fee is now $400, but there's an increase of an additional. So it would just basically be 4 units. We'd be back to the 500.
Yep.
That I'm fine with. What I'm not fine with is the major land development final because our per unit count is the same. I would have added another $5 there and kept it at the 500. I don't want to drop for the major land. Those guys got the money to pay it.
No, that's fair. It's the only fee that I think we decreased. I think we did it mostly.
Which is why
and I think
why I
mostly,
threw my eye was like major. I'm like, come on, Doug.
Yeah.
You're giving the big guys the easy pass here.
No, and I mean, you can see why. If you look at how we proposed fees across all stages of the majors, you can see we increased the fees and the approach for the master plan and the preliminary plan, the 2 categories just above it. And we were really just kind of carrying it forward. To be honest, out of all the stages of review, final is the one that's least intensive, meaning that if you had to pick a stage where you were going to have the fee be higher, it probably wouldn't be final. But I'm also very comfortable if we want to leave that one, meaning that if we change that, so instead of it saying 525 per unit and changing it to 425 per unit, if you want to leave it at 500, I mean,
I do. Public perception for me is big, and this looks, the math is math. It's the only one that would given a decrease. I do see where you did the pre-app and the preliminary, and if the reason that the final is the easier, well, that just tells me that we can make up the difference for the ones that aren't. It's just a balance.
I think that's fine. So I think we can change that one if just making sure everyone's clear. The one category, it's and it's the one, if you're looking on the far right-hand column, at least of the staff memo that went out, it's the only one there was shown a decrease. We'll change that so that it'll be basically measure to be the same fee as what final is today, 500 plus 25 per unit.
One question for the solicitor. Fees usually have to be tied to the amount of effort that goes into them. Having said that, that's an easier one. Do you think it would pass muster by saying we're increasing it?
I do. My assumption is that you've compared this with other fees in other cities and towns based upon N plus.
Yeah.
Got a reasonableness test. I'm satisfied.
Yeah. No.
Because it's level. We're not increasing anything. We're just maintaining it at where it originally was. I'm just pushing
that one, yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm just pushing back at decreasing it.
Yeah. No, on that one, that would be level set. We're certainly increasing fees in many different categories across the board, but we feel we've done the reasonability test. We're within the range. We're not even at the highest end of some of our contemporary communities, but our goal wasn't to be at the 90 or 99th percentile. Our goal was to be in the 50th or 60th percentile. Make sure their fees are appropriate. but don't try to charge more than every other town.
In lieu of time, if I can ask one more quick thing, the minor land development is going to consist of how many units? Like at what point does it turn from minor to major?
So the land developments, and when you look at all the minors and the majors, these both have a subdivision component and a commercial component. If it was a subdivision, it goes from a minor to major at around 10 units, but it gets complex. It'd probably take 5 minutes to explain. There's nuances depending on if they're extending a street or not. But basically,
I'm looking to
9
make up
10 units.
$200. So I'm looking for 4 units basically because I'm looking for 8 units. You have minor land development, line 26 is going to go from $400 to $200, but now you're adding a $25 unit fee. So I was trying to figure out how many units does a minor land development need to get us back to level of where we were at the 400.
Understood. Yeah. And I think it's fair that for subdivisions, the breaking point is generally from 9 to 10, but it is possible for some minors to even have dozens of units if they're not extending a street. But the other component is that commercial development, it goes from a minor to a major at 7,500 square feet. And the unit count there isn't, we basically use a unit count as 1,000 square feet. So I guess if you're thinking about it, you get a minor that's under 75, 1,000 square feet. I think we're going to be okay with this structure.
Do I need to make a motion to amend line 32? I would make a motion to approve this resolution with the verbiage change on line 32, major land development. We're going to maintain the $500 fee plus $25 a unit.
That's good with me.
So do we just remove that?
Yeah, I guess we're not
Because
changing
it's
the
not going
fee.
to be a change? Yeah.
I guess it's technically won't be subject to the resolution.
Second.
Was a motion which with the amendment, right? All in one piece, because there was no main motion, right? So he's moving to approve this resolution minus line 32. That's his motion. So we don't have to go 2 steps.
Gotcha. We have a motion from Councilman Hool. We have a second from VP Brown. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. I'll be handy if you have questions on this next one.
All right. Next up, item O. This is the release of the subdivision maintenance bond. This is Green Farm Estates, as that's also known as Minglewood.
Yes, so this came in front of the Planning Commission last month, and they recommended final release of the bond. So there have been 2 issues that have been outstanding for almost a couple of years now at that development. One was the trash rack. It needed 1 bolt to be put in place, so it wasn't a potential safety issue next to the retention pond, and that has been done. And the engineer also said that there was sediment in one of the basins, and that has been cleared out. So he recommended that the bond be released. It went to the Planning Commission. They also recommended a final bond release, and now it's here in front of the council.
All right. So this one was interesting. I followed this conversation at the Planning Council meeting. It seemed to be, I don't want to call it miscommunication, but some kind of confusion between the developer and our folks. Eventually, whatever happened there, one way or another, those conditions were met, if I'm understanding this correctly. Do you want to just do a 30-second overview on that? Because I know some of the folks here.
Yeah, sure. As a 30-second overview, there is a little bit of an odd communication history on this one. About a year and it's really more than a year and a half ago, like a year and 8 or 9 months ago. We communicated to this applicant that there was some outstanding work to complete at this project. And this, as longstanding members may recall, this actually made its way into the council about 2 years ago. There were some concerns. We had the director of DPW go out. We identified a series of improvements. Some of them were raising structures, like the manhole apparatus. Some of them that we identified were minor. One of them was locking, like bolting down a trash rack as part of the infrastructure. Another was cleaning up some of the debris. We got to the point where all we had were two very minor items. I would describe them as something that a guy with a shovel and a pickup truck and a guy that, was out there with the bolt, we're talking about an afternoon of work. We got to the point where the applicant described that they did not want to do that work. They felt as though that they had done enough work, and they said they asked for the bond to be released on those current conditions. We responded to say, no, if there's an active item that we need corrected, then it needs to be corrected, and then once it's done, we will review it and we'll move the bond forward. That began a period of non-communication for quite a while. We sort of, he said he didn't want to do the work. We said, we're not going to move forward until you do the work. After about 1 calendar year, I sent an email to check in on it and said, where do we stand on this? And the applicant did not respond. So it was, the communication was, it wasn't there. We weren't getting responses. The applicant's attorney at the time, I asked them if they had a response. They said they would look into it, but then never came back with any information. Fast forward to about 2 months ago, I'd say maybe 2 to 3 months ago, just by chance, the engineer's driving in the area. He sees the work has been done, this minor work. We had not been notified the work had been done, but we indicated to the applicant, hey, we've noticed that the work was done. We're happy to move this forward. We feel as though this is finalized. Received no communication back on that. It was brought to the Planning Commission. There was not a representative at the Planning Commission. So while technically we feel the work has been done, it has an odd path of communication that is not typical for an applicant that normally would be seeking their bond back to be engaging in the process to achieve the bond retrieval. So we are where we are. We think that the technical merits are still there. The project is complete to the engineer's satisfaction. It's duly in front of you to consider. But, we just have not had a lot of communication with the applicant on this.
I appreciate that, Doug. I tried to follow it at the meeting, and you guys did a good job going through it, but I don't know if we'll ever fully understand whatever happened there, but interesting, but thank you for that. Councilwoman Ionati?
So, who ultimately did the work? We obviously didn't do the work. Did their people do the work?
The assumption is that the developer, the applicant, Mr. DeBloy or his subcontractors did the work.
So I want to know, are we penalizing them for the delay, for no correspondence? Or, are we doing any of that?
When we talk about a project that has a bond and we're holding the bond, generally the penalty is that we're not releasing the bond. This one had an odd a happenstance that the developer did not seem to be actively pursuing or communicating about the path to release the bond. I don't want to speculate any further. I can only just say that there's multiple other projects. There's lots of bonds. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know if there was any reason why on this one there was a desire not to resolve it. But we feel as though the work has been done on the town's end. We've performed the review. If you're asking, is there another penalty on the delay? The idea is the penalty was holding the bond, and now we feel as though it's ready to be released.
But he never even communicated that with you.
That's correct.
So to me, he has a whole big project to be built. He can't keep doing that down the road and not correspond with us, correct?
Well, when you're asking just about this one project. Yeah.
Future projects.
I can't get into future projects.
I'm being told we should not get into any future projects, but I can tell you that the only unusual component is that when we hold a bond, generally the expectation is the developer is eagerly, actively pursuing the release of their bond. It gives them the financial flexibility to use those funds on other projects. We were not seeing the communication or an eager or active participation to release the bond. However, at some point over the last 6 months or so, the work was done, and we happened upon it maybe 2 months or so ago, and we felt that it was satisfactorily done, and we felt it was time to bring it to the board's attention.
Do we have an actual request to release it that is valid and current, or are we doing this because we know this is the next step?
I mean, I guess I could say we're sitting on a year and a half or year and 8 months ago, there was a request to release it. There's just been such a void of communication in that time. I don't think we're in a position where they need to reinitiate a request. It is odd that they didn't tell us when the work was done and they weren't eager to have the work inspected and have the bond brought right then. That's just odd.
That is a reoccurring theme with this, Councilman Holm.
All right. I'm going to call this what it is. I don't know if I believe the story that we just so happened to drive by and inspect something that nobody called us to inspect. I'm going to always have a hard time believing that. And then my first doubts started when I read the memorandum that you put forward. It doesn't make sense to me, Director. It states to me that a list of this requested work was compiled and forwarded to the applicant. The applicant completed the requested work, and reinspection of the work was performed by the town on 6/18/24. During the reinspection, 2 additional items were noted that needed completing prior to the release of this construction bond. We identified those, one of them being the bolt in a trash can, and the second one being silt or some sort of settlement. So it states that one of these items was safety related. The applicant was then notified of this requested additional work. The applicant replied to the town that he would not complete the 2 requested items. So I'm going to ask you, if he's saying that, why are you putting this in front of us? If that gentleman is saying that he's not going to do anything and he's not going to communicate with me, is somebody telling me that we went to him and said, I'm going to inspect your work, I'm going to pass your work, and I'm going to write you a check for $168,000, even though you didn't ask me for it, just because it's been on my books for a year? Just somebody please help me make this make sense.
I'll try. And to begin, I mean, this memo is actually from the town engineer who
Oh, I'm sorry. It's to you. My apologies.
That's
Thank
all
you for
good.
correcting that. I just want to finish. It says no further communication was made by the applicant regarding the completion of the outstanding work. Engineering performed a reinspection of the project on January 1st of 26 and observed that all requested items were satisfactorily completed. Why did anyone go out there?
And now we don't know who did it.
Well, Joe Levesque, our town engineer, did the inspection. It was not because there was any communication that he should go back out. I think as just in part of his duties, as he frequently drives around and checks on stormwater infrastructure when we have rain events, just to see how things are holding up. He caught that this work that we had asked for about a year and a half earlier had been done. It's the odd part isn't that Joe was in the field reviewing the infrastructure. That's something that we have storms. Joe goes out and he wants to see how things are managing, see how things are holding
The
up.
problem is settlement was one of the issues. So we don't know when the settlement was cleaned, by who, and at what period is that settlement building back up? Like, was it cleaned yesterday, the day before he went out? So of course we don't have, there's nothing here that we have an entire community. It's not even in my district. This just, none of it made sense to me. It was, if anything had red flags, and today it was this.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. We don't know when it was cleaned, how it was cleaned, who cleaned it, and at what period is that settlement going to come back? If there was a settlement issue, Mr. Pendergast was here tonight, always talking about settlement. We know it's going to be an ongoing issue. So my question is what did we as a town put to this developer for a continuance? Because who's going to fix the settlement when this is over? The HOA?
Yes.
So then they're going to come after us and be like, you guys put us in this position. We all know who's in that HOA. We all understand this process.
So the idea that the basins are gathering sediment and, particles, materials, sand, that's a standard function of these. The stormwater rushes into them, and there is an expectation that these do over time gather that sediment. These stormwater basins do have ongoing operation and maintenance routines that are required.
Is that in their HOA docs, the
Yes.
condo docs?
Yeah. So HOAs then take on the responsibility of it. So this project has a formal technical stormwater operation and maintenance plan. To this point, the HOA is not active.
When did you clarify that last?
What do you mean?
When's the last time that you checked on whether or not that HOA was active?
That's a good question. I can only tell you what I know.
Well, as of 5:24 p.m., I'm going to read you a message. It states, we finally gave in and took the HOA because the town lawyer is refusing to work with us. And I'm going to stop there so I don't keep incriminating us. But none of this is making sense to me. None of it. And look, I want to believe everyone up here. It's my job. I want to help you guys, support you guys. This doesn't make sense. I would make a motion to table this until we can get some more information. I can't approve this moving forward.
I agree.
What information do you want us to?
I want to know why the
obtain?
developer hasn't called the town. I want to know why the developer hasn't come before us and asked us to release the bond. Are they setting themselves up for a lawsuit? Like, is that what we're looking at? And they're saying the town, like, what? Somebody help us understand this. You guys are putting something before me that says give this guy back his money. And although it's run under a different LLC each time, you know, we can't judge one project to the other. I'm confused. Like I told you this, Mr. Manager, when I came in. None of this made sense. I want to clean up this mess too, but not irresponsibly when you guys are coming back in a year and saying, we approve this and now there's settlement and then everything flooded out.
And I got to ask, does anybody have to sign off on this work?
I'm sorry.
Hold on one
Does
second.
anybody have to sign off?
Mic on?
The engineer.
Work.
The engineer.
So our engineer did,
He's the one that observed that those two issues were
but he
resolved.
didn't know who did it. Right, correct. So we don't,
Either the developer or a subcontractor.
right,
is.
nobody finds that weird?
Mr. President, I don't want to get hyper technical, but just so council aware, when somebody makes a motion to table, that's a non-debatable motion. It's not so, if you're going to remove the motion, if you're going to continue to discuss it,
My motion's staying. I make a motion to table this.
you don't discuss, a motion to table is made in second and you have to take a vote. That's the rules of order. I'm not.
No, I
I'm not
got
trying
you.
to stop anybody from talking, but you gotta either follow the rules or not. That's up to you.
All right, we have a motion to table. Do we have a second? Oh, we have multiple seconds. I guess there's no discussion. So-
Can we add this to an executive session for further discussion? Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, please make a note. All right, all those in favor on the motion to table? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion is tabled. All right. Oh, we got one more resolution. This is item P. This is, I don't know, Councilman Hold, do you want to?
Thank you for this, Council President. I was forwarded this resolution that was introduced in another municipality. It was by a colleague of mine, and it is in support of the Rhode House Bill 7356 and Senate Bill 2216, and it's in regards to school employee background checks.
You, Councilwoman Capaldi?
I have a question. All school employees already get background checks, correct? This is extending it to vendors and others. Am I reading this correctly?
Like I can read off the.
Well, that's what I'm reading. Yeah. So we didn't have, anyone could walk on a school property and not have a background check? Who's answering these questions? There's no one here representing this.
So this eventually is kind of the town council sponsoring or signing on to eventual state action. So
It's making it even across the state, is what my interpretation of this is. Mr. Igliozzi said he was very familiar with both of them.
Add a little context. There has been incidents in other towns where this issue has arose that resulted in prosecution and investigation by the state police and resulted in a number of cities and towns raising this issue at the State House with the concept that somebody could move from town to town or state to state for that matter without knowing why they were dismissed at a previous institution. Because many times if you resign, they cannot disclose anything else except, yes, they worked here from such a date to such a date, and they're no longer here. So this is to open the door into that kind of employment non-disclosure.
We've never had that in our school district.
I'm just.
That's scary. Okay.
This is not a Coventry thing. It's a state thing.
Well, I mean, I'm just amazed
it's
that
all-
we didn't have it already.
It's always been borderline illegal.
Councilman Pasqua? Hold on, sorry.
Sorry.
I just don't want the public to think that we don't do that. This is not correcting a problem in Coventry. This is the state legislation, and it's just getting ahead of a problem that could happen in the future. We do our due diligence when we hire people in the town of Coventry. I know we do.
Appreciate that, Councilman. I'm not sure if I don't see anybody here from the schools. Did anybody get outreach from anybody on the school department? No? Okay. Councilwoman Ionati?
So I totally believe in protecting our students. My question is though, is with the enhanced background check, how do we fund that? Like, because now this is tracking them from out of state, it's going rigorous. So does the state help with that? I mean, who?
This is supporting the state bill.
Yeah.
And then, I can't tell you whether the state's going to mandate it and then put the bill on you or
I'm 100% for it.
provide funding to the state. That,
I just didn't know if
those
you had to pay more.
discussions will be debated, I'm sure, up at the General Assembly when these bills are considered in the department, I believe it's the Committee on Education where it sits, or Municipal Affairs. But it's really about whether you support the bills or not.
I mean, I
That's
support.
what
protecting
this is. There's
students.
2 state bills up there at the General Assembly that are trying to create this enhanced background check. If you support it as a community, you vote to support it. That's what the resolution.
I make a motion to support it.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion passes. All right, we are on to our next topic, item number 6. We talked about this a few different places. This came up in budget discussions. We were looking into funding the weed abatement at all of our water bodies. We did think for a possibility we had impact fees. I think we further researched that. Did you want to speak on that, Mr.
I know the
Manning?
solicitor did a memorandum to the council stating that impact fees cannot be used for that reason.
All right, so that leaves us with a discussion, ideas. Go ahead, Councilman Hull.
The reason that I put this on there was I was under the initial impression that we could use impact fees as a one-time. My goal was to try to fund the 3 bodies of water for the 2026 season. The town manager did propose a line item funded of a minimal $10,000 for the 2027 and moving forward, which we'll have to try to increase. 10,000 isn't going to go far. My goal here was to get you guys something for 2026. I would like, if there was opera funds, I'd like to try to fund something. We did this last year. There are bodies of water. We're going to have to play nice in the sandbox. Tom and the Johnson's Pond Association, like these guys, the associations without the associations, first and foremost, this would be costing us a lot more. Let's just acknowledge that. Never mind the work that they do. So as a little thank you, the least we can do is try to find some funding for this. I would like to find a source to pitch in here where we can.
So I think when we last left off, either 26 or 27, the real time that ticks is on the permit. So, if we find the money this year or next year, fiscally, that's just a June 30th versus July 1st thing. So I don't think that's too much of a big deal. So the next question becomes, what fund source? and how to break it out, because I believe we had some testimony before where Mr. Narkowitz, I think, was questioning some of the funding formula premise we used. So as far as this discussion goes, any possibility to, we're worried about not spending the ARPA money from RDA. Any possibility of, oh, all right, we got a head shake already.
All of the remaining money for APA had to be delegated by December of '24. So there's no line item for weed abatement in the 2024 description of all the projects that are left. So you can't add new stuff. You can only move the money within the appropriate APA projects. I think there's about 15 of them.
Within
existing
the
projects.
buckets, not between buckets.
Correct.
Councilman Pascal, do you have something?
Couple of quick things. So I just want to make sure we're clear on the understanding of how the weed abatement will work and billing and where that will fall when it comes to the fiscal year for the town of Coventry. The weed treatment that happens in June can be funded and paid out once we get through the fiscal year, July 1. So we will, if we find money to put in the budget to do the weed abatement, we can do it this year and pay the bill. That's not a big deal. We've been working with water and wetlands for many years. All the associations are working with them, and we have a good rapport with them, and that's not going to be a big deal. The other thing that I want to point out too is that I really, we're looking at like capital, we're talking about ARPA. These are one-time areas that you go into, and this is something, we don't really want to get behind on. It's just like keeping up with our roads and our fields and any other public space that we have, and these are all public spaces. This should be an annual thing that's in our budget that we just take care of annually, and we should find a place for it, find a home for it, and do that. I mean, for many, many years, we spent $50,000 a year on Johnson's Pond leasing that place for a long time. Nobody said a word about it. That thing had been leased for 20 years at 50 grand a year, and we don't pay that anymore. I'm not saying we put $50,000 a year on this, but we had money in the budget for Johnson's Pond at 50 grand a year for decades. So, we should find a home for this, maintain it, and we don't want to get behind on it, because if Tiogue Lake gets choked out because we stop funding this, or Breezy Lake gets choked out because something happens over there, or Flat River Reservoir gets choked out, it's going to cost 10 times what we're talking about now to get back to something usable.
So right now it's under conservation, like you said, for the 10,000. I mean, the council can decide just to have the budget
I
funded.
was going to say we can
just fund it.
create a line item,
The line item's there. All you can do is increase it.
you know,
You can do that. Sure.
and then we'd have to find something offset somewhere else, just so we're even, or a bunch of little cuts, or we did talk about this. I should let you guys know, as far as with the finance director, sometimes it makes sense to create special set aside funds, and then sometimes it doesn't. So in going back to our discussion with perhaps taking some of the residual surplus every year, funding the capital account, I don't know if it's a great idea to do that for this or not. Maybe not. We can maybe do that in finance committee, but otherwise the alternative is to make a decision that this is a priority, budget it, and find the cut somewhere else. If we want to make the number 35,000, there's 10 in there now. We got to cut 25. So that's where we stand right now. But this good discussion. No action right now, but good discussion. As we noted earlier, this would be an amendment. So if someone's got ideas, throw it out there. We'll find something. Mr. Savetti. Councilman Hull?
So I think for just so I'm understanding my thought of wanting to do it for the 26. So can you help me understand when the treatment, like, because I don't want it to run a year behind almost. It's like we're approving now for 27. I'd like to know that in 27, in the summer of 27, they have those funds already. That's why I was looking to see if we could find, when does the treatment line in with our financial, fiscal year almost?
Yeah, great question. So we treat mid-June, somewhere around there. So the bill comes through around July anyway. So putting it in the budget, you can label it however you want, but it's effectively going to do what it needs to do this year.
All right. Thank you. We talk weed a lot about up here.
So just to clarify, we don't have a resolution or an answer to give the ponds and the associations as of now about where this is going to go for 2027, correct?
Yeah,
We know we have a line item. We
Yep.
know we have a budget. We have to figure out the funds, the
we
amount.
can amend the budget. If we want to amend the budget, or if we want to do a separate resolution, maybe that codifies the distribution methodology. So we're fair in our acreage, or, all that stuff. If we do it that way, either in finance committee or here, I'm sure we would hear from Mr. Pendergast. I'm sure from Johnson's Pond Association as well. Maybe, there's just things we don't know as far as the density, the acreage, the hot spots.
And you making the
You
big
know.
bucks will handle that.
Absolutely. It's
you.
well worth it for me.
Yeah, I could follow up with them, get that, what that breakdown should be, the percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made some assumptions last year, but,
I think for me, it's more just, not only is it taking care of what we have here, it's acknowledging the work that the associations do and not leave them out hanging and drying. If they weren't here, it would be costing us a lot more money. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. There are assets, and we gotta protect them. Yeah, could we all stop talking up here? Let's see. Oh, Mr. Mars has left. All right, that completes that. We are now on public comment for undocketed items. Item 7, undocketed. Anyone in council chambers want to speak on undocketed? Mr. Lemoy, hello, welcome.
Good evening. Mark Lemoy, 34 Island Drive, President of Johnson Pond Civic Association. I really appreciate the entire council discussing and supporting the invasive weed treatment. So just for information, I worked with Water and Wetlands. We applied for a permit this year, the same as last year. And anticipating the possibility that we may get more funding. DM does not really care if you do less treatment. They do if you do more. You can't do more. At some point, Water and Wetlands had the discussions with me that they do have to order the herbicides, the chemical treatments. So they will have to place an order. They are going to get back to me with what that date is, but we have time. And again, thank you for that. Different subject on the, while we're on the environmental stewardship, I want to thank DPW for, on April 4th, Coventry is doing I don't know if the word sponsoring, but DPW is working with Rhode Island Resource Recovery across the street here to do a Eco Depot where town residents can bring their hazardous waste, antifreeze, paints, solvents. I don't know if it's like medications too, but the website has all the info. And if anybody can spread the word, if on that, it's real worthwhile. So as we know here in Coventry, there's not much sewers. So if hazardous waste goes down the drains, where does it go? Septic systems, into the water table, into ponds, into the Patuxent River, works its way to the bay. It's everywhere. So it's a very important part of our environmental stewardship that we really want to support this and make it easy for residents. So this is once a year, I guess Coventry does this once a year in the spring with resource recovery. And it's very worthwhile and it's very popular. And one of the reasons it's very popular is the word right here, free. So I've shared this on our Facebook with all our membership, all our emails, and I'm going to ask Cody tomorrow if he can put this on the Coventry website. Coventry does have it on their Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Make your appointments. It's going fast. All right. Anyone else in chambers on undocketed? Good evening, Mr. News.
Jason Nunes, Fourview Road. I want to talk about that resolution 2026-15, the Tiogue Lake Gatehouse. I know it's not on the docket. I know you're not going to comment on it. This has been kicked around since the March 3rd meeting. It was supposed to be delayed a week. It's been a while. I know there's no answers to that. But another thing on the Lake Tiogue with the weed abatement is they're probably going to put in a request for the treatment of like 20 acres. It's 215 acres in displacement. The trouble there is about 20 acres of it. Depending on the funding, they can't go to 25 acres. They can go to 10 if they only have that amount of money to have that treatment. So I think Jerry put in for, I want to say 20 acres. We do our own fundraising and our own association fees. We can't do all 20 acres, but you can always ask for more and do less. And I just wanted to make that point known. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can't comment.
Nope, I'm asking the council.
Wow, look at this guy. Really turned
He's
his
on
mind
it.
to us.
Thank you.
Whew.
Just so I'm understanding, I keep hearing this tonight. DEM, you could ask them to treat 1,000,000 gallons and only use 5. It doesn't matter. Well, I'm just using for acres. You can tell them that but you can't do it in reverse. That's correct. You can ask them for, and is your permit based upon the amount of acres that you ask?
Mr. Lemoy.
So you're correct in that statement, but we always have to provide a report at the end. Not we, Water and Wetlands, the company, the licensed herbicides, they provide a report at the date of the treatment or a few days after. They provide a report, and then at the end of the year, they provide a year-end report that we submit to the residents. I think I shared it with the town last year and DEM.
Anyone else undocketed in the room? We will go to Zoom. Not seeing any hands. You seeing any? Right. Well, this can't be right. 7:40. This can't be right. Okay, hold on. Looks like that's it. And no, really? Councilman Houle? No? All right. All right. I will take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion second. Any discussion? No.
Thank you for the
Stand
crowd.
adjourned.